Radio check, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the US Grand Prix live stream. We are 29 minutes away from the start of the race. We've already got 1,000 people tuned into the live stream. That is simply lovely. Currently up on the screen, we have got the timings from qualifying yesterday. We were on for some very quick laps from Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, but George Russell put an early end to qualifying yesterday by crashing into the barriers at turn number 19. Quite an exciting turn of events nonetheless, and the races are getting underway very shortly. Let me just apologies for a little bit of the delay. I forgot to plug in my laptop, and that wouldn't have gone down well because my laptop would have run out of battery by the time we even got to the start of the race. So yeah. All right. Here we go. Let me pause the advert so you guys don't get any ads, and we are underway for the stream. Very nice. Okay, so I shall go through a little bit of the data and the information that we've got on the race so far. Firstly, is we're going to have. In fact, I think I can refresh the data, and we'll get the data coming through for the race. Let me just see if we have any data coming through just yet. Oh yeah, actually, the screen's just gone black, and here we go, 2 seconds, and we have all of the data coming in. Very nice. Okay, the pit lane exit is closed. All of the drivers are up on the circuit as of now. Everyone just getting ready, doing the final checks, and we will be underway very shortly. Right, what time will the race end? Well, the race will start in 30 minutes time. The race will probably be 1.5 hours, probably a little bit over that. So in 2 hours time, the race will be over. I know many of you, the time zones might be slightly off, and you may have to get to sleep, but I assure you this race is going to be so exciting. It'll be well worth staying up for. Of course, we'll have the battle between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. They'll be squabbling away for most of the race. The Ferraris, their race pace looks absolutely fantastic. We saw that in the sprint race yesterday. They started a little bit further back down the grid. However, they did make steady, constant progress up the pack. And I think if they were given more laps, they may have even caught up to Max Verstappen. The race pace was very solid on the Ferraris. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Did George Russell screw his car that bad from the crash? I don't think he did. I think he damaged his front left suspension, or was it front right? Maybe he damaged one of his suspension arms, but he'll be fine to take part in today's race. He is. Russell's in the pits actually. Let me just have a look. What's happened here? I think he has actually damaged the car. So he's just put a tweet out. Yesterday was a very disappointing day. The team worked so hard bringing upgrades to the car, which showed great potential on Friday. Yesterday we didn't seem to have the pace, and I was pushing beyond the limit, ultimately paying the price with the crash. Today's a new day. The team have done a fantastic job fixing the car. Unfortunately, we've had to start from the pit lane, but I'll give it absolutely everything. To do their hard work justice. So it does look like they've actually damaged the car even more. The reason might be because they only had one set of the upgrades, and because of that, what's happened is, so the regulations say that you can use, once park firmware begins, you can, if you damage a part of your car, you can replace it as long as it is the exact same thing. Now, Mercedes have brought very hard to bring those upgrades, but if they only had one set of the upgrade package, so they only had one front wing for George Russell, and he crashed that front wing, that would mean that they would have to revert back to the old specification. However, that does break the Parc Fermé rules, and that essentially says that, you've modified your front wing from qualifying to the race, and because of that, you're going to have to start from the pit lane. So that is, that really sucks for George Russell. He was very good, quick in quali yesterday. He wasn't as quick as he was in sprint quali, but nonetheless, he was a lot quicker than Hamilton, who was having a lot of issues. Unfortunately, he crashed it into the barriers, and now having to start from the pit lane because he hasn't got extra spare parts of the exact same front wing. Now, they've got a slightly different front wing, however, the rules say that it's got to be the exact same, otherwise you start from the pits. Alright. Yeah, it's going to be a tough race for Mercedes. They would ideally like to gain some points in the Constructors' Championship and potentially threaten Ferrari. However, given the fact that they're going to be starting in 17th and 20th position today, I think it's highly unlikely they'll be doing anything similar to that. Ferrari, though, they're getting very close to Red Bull. So McLaren are clear. McLaren are on 522 points in the Constructors. Red Bull are on 483. And Ferrari are on 453. So the gap between Red Bull and Ferrari, only 30 points here. And, where is Sergio Perez on the grid? He's in 9th position, Max Verstappen in 2nd. They can score points with Max Verstappen's car, but if Perez is only bringing home 2, 3, 4 points into the team, then he's definitely not pulling his weight, and the Ferraris will overtake Red Bull in the constructor. So Red Bull now, they may win the drivers, and it's looking likely that Verstappen will still win the drivers' championship, but they might even end up in the third fastest car and the third position in the constructors' championship, which would be absolutely tragic, really. Yeah. All right. Why is the text not very defined? I think YouTube sometimes lowers the quality setting, so if you just press the settings cog and increase the quality, you should be good to go. Please answer my question. Who has more chances of winning, Lando or Max? I would say Max has more chances of winning. If we just look at the pure pace from the sprint race, Verstappen is quicker. He pulled out, I think, around a 3 or a 4 second gap to Norris by the end of the race. Of course, Norris was squabbling a little bit with Sainz, but nonetheless, Red Bull seem to be quicker in the sprint race. They've given us a preview of what could happen in the real race, and I think something similar to that might happen. However, there have been, between the end of the sprint race and the start of qualifying, the drivers and the teams are allowed to make changes to the car. So, maybe McLaren realised, oh yeah, our front suspension is a little bit too stiff. We're going to just soften that a little bit, and that should help our race pace. And maybe they made a couple of tweaks to their car, and their race pace is very good. So I guess we'll wait and see. But from the sprint race, it looks like the Red Bull is ever so slightly quicker than the McLaren. That being said, though, Norris was holding Verstappen well within range. He was holding him within 1.5 seconds for quite a few laps, but then towards the end, Verstappen's tyres didn't fall off, Norris's did, and Verstappen drove off into the distance. All right. Hi, Gamer. Thanks for your coverage at this ungodly hour. Yeah, I'm sure many of you it is an ungodly hour. For me, it's only 7:39 p.m. here in the UK, so not too bad for me. But yesterday's quali session was 11 p.m. till midnight. So yeah, that wasn't ideal, but it is what it is. Okie dokes. What else have we got? Have we got to go through? Yeah, we've got a couple of strategy things as well. It's looking like, actually, let's have a look. What do Pirelli say about the strategy? Is it going to be a one-stop? Is it going to be a two-stop? Or is it going to be a potential mix of either? Pirelli say it is going to be a two-stop strategy. Looking at track temperature here, it's 46 degrees. It's the highest track temperature we've had all weekend long. Pirelli say start the race on the mediums, do your second stint on the hards, and do your final stint on the mediums once again, or do your first 2 stints on the mediums and your final stint on the hards. So these are the possible race strategies from Pirelli, but it looks like a certain two-stopper. We saw excessive amounts of tyre wear really in qualifying. Drivers who were, they had 2 or 3 lap older tyres compared to someone else, and they would lose 3/10, 4/10 of a second just over the course, or just by the fact that they had 3 lap older tyres. So qualifying does, the tyre wear at the circuit plays a pretty huge role, and we're going to be seeing 2 stops according to Pirelli. We may see a couple of teams try to extend out a 1 stop. We have seen it done before. I think it was Kimi Räikkönen in 2018. He pulled off a 1-stop race and managed to win that one. So I think Verstappen and Hamilton were both doing a 2-stop, and they were trying to chase him down for the lead of the race, but Kimi held on. So in previous years, it's been very close between a 1-stop and a 2-stop. Pirelli say that the 2-stop's faster. However, Pirelli, we know, aren't always correct. So only time will tell. If we have a look at the race pace simulations, the Red Bull are 1/10 of a lap quicker than Oh no, sorry, 1/10 of a second quicker than the McLarens per lap, and the Ferraris and the McLarens are basically identical race pace, and then we've got the Mercedes 1/10 back from them. So, and then we've got the rest of the cars even back from the Mercedes. So it's quite a big gap that we've got between the Mercs and the rest of the field. But the gap between Red Bull and more specifically Verstappen and the McLarens and the Ferraris is 1/10 of a second. That is so marginal. You know, if your setup's ever so slightly wrong, if your tire warm-up procedure's wrong, or just you have DRS, getting those overtakes done could be, well, very, very interesting. All right. Oh, wow. We've got 2,500 people tuned in. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button as well. Massively helps out the channel. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. I'll be commentating next weekend as well for the Mexico GP. It's going to be a fantastic race there in Mexico. So yeah, hope you guys tune into that one as well. We've got a couple more things to go through. The FIA did their investigation on Red Bull to see if they were, cheating or doing anything along those lines with their bib system. However, it was confirmed by the FIA that the system had existed for the previous 3 years and Red Bull had never made a single violation of it. So yeah, it's no issues down at Red Bull. And what else have I got to say? Oh yeah, Haas have partnered up with Toyota. So Toyota are now sponsoring the Haas team. They're going to get a little extra. Well, Haas is going to have a little bit more money. Toyota are going to have a bit more of a side in Formula One. I don't think they're going to be doing a full team as they previously may have. But Toyota has got fantastic endurance racing and sports car racing experience. Right. Yeah, no, truly, when I last went on this channel, F1 Game had less than 100k subs. Yes, I think it was only, it's only been a month or so since I've hit 100k subs, so, yeah, it's not been too long. F1 Gamer corners 12 to 19 looks like an oven mitten. Yeah, it does actually, now that I look at it. Yeah, very nice. All right. What's happening to Haas? They are on fire. Well, Haas are doing fantastically, really. I think someone else said this in the chat earlier. Not today, but I think yesterday. The total number of staff that Haas have got is 200. Haas have got approximately 200 members at the team, whereas Mercedes have got 1,200 members at the team. So there is a huge difference, like 6 times more members in the Mercedes team, yet Haas are still managing to perform so fantastically. They're looking to be the 5th fastest team on the grid. They are just behind the Mercs, and in the sprint race they finished 7th and 8th, and the Mercs finished 5th and 6th. So not too much splitting the Mercs and the Haas's. Love how Alpine made their livery look like the McLarens. Yeah, I don't know how they... Well, obviously, maybe one of the Alpine executives were thinking that it's going to be... if we paint our car orange, then maybe we'll go quick, just like the McLarens. And somehow Pierre Gasly's managed to bring his car up into 6th position, just 1 place behind Oscar Piastri. So, yeah, maybe that's worked out for Alpine. However... Gasly's teammate Esteban Ocon is down in 12th position, so yeah, it's not exactly worked out for the entire Alpine team. I think Gasly's just had a very good weekend so far. Right, please answer my question. If Max overtakes Lando, can Ferrari do the same thing, giving Lando P3 or P4? Well, maybe. There's no way for me to know for certain. Yeah, I don't know. These kind of questions. If I knew the answer to these questions, I would have made bets by now. So I've said this, quite a few times. Okay, 15 minutes till we get going for the start of the race. If we have a look at the weather is totally sunny. There is not a single cloud in the sky in Austin, Texas. The drivers lose 20 seconds in the pit lane coming in for a pit stop, and they lose 14 seconds if they come in for the pits under a virtual safety car or a safety car. We haven't had a safety car for quite a while now. This weekend could be one of them. However, in the previous 7 years of racing here, we've only had a safety car once. We've had a virtual safety car 4 times, but a safety car only once. So, we'll wait and see. We shall wait and see if we get a safety car. Of course, if George Russell or another driver does crash at turn number 19, then we'll definitely get a safety car. However, it's a lot less likely that we're going to have a crash at turn number 19, because in quali the drivers are pushing all the way to the limit, sometimes a little bit beyond, whereas in the race they are doing a lot more tyre conservation and driving within the limits of the car to try and not wear out the tyres too much. So it's a totally different ballpark, totally different game really, and yeah. Is this a replay? No, it's live. I mean, the whole point of the channel is that it's live. Otherwise, yeah. You sound a little sick. Yeah, I do. I am a little sick actually. I've just got a bit of a blocked nose really. Blocked nose, runny nose, and that's why my voice sounds a little off. Right. We're going to have 56 laps of racing around here. We had 19 in the sprint race, so three times as much, three times as many laps as a sprint. And yeah, 56 laps, probably 2 stops, maybe a 1 stop, depending on if someone wants to pull off a hard tyres to medium tyres. I think a safety car will also help pulling off a 1 stop strategy, but who knows? Right, what else have we got to see? Oh yeah, we have of course got the Liam Lawson. We've got to talk about Lawson. He's had a he had a pretty good quali yesterday. Of course, he's got a grid penalty today because they're taking totally fresh engine components, and he's starting from 19th position, which is it's totally out of the nobody's focusing on him. It's not in the spotlight. You can just focus, have a good race, maybe overtake Zhou, have a battle with Hamilton, maybe if he gets a good start, and we'll see how much progress he can make up through the field. Tsunoda, his teammate, will be starting in 10th, so we'll see, you know, where their positions are at the end of the race and how well Liam Lawson does in his first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix. Okay. All right. We've got Max Verstappen, who in 2022 won from second position at the US Grand Prix, started in second place after I think Leclerc got pole in 2022 and ended up winning the race. So maybe he can replicate that success. But in the previous 7 years of the US Grand Prix, we've had 7 different pole sitters. So I think it was. So, of course, 2024 we had Lando Norris, 2023 it was Verstappen, 2022 was Leclerc, 2021 was Hamilton, I think, 2020, I don't know if we raced here in 2020, and then 2019 might have been Vettel, yeah, I can't remember that far back now. Yeah, we'll see. How is Lando first? Lando probably wouldn't have been first if it hadn't been for George. Lando didn't improve in the first sector on his quali lap, and Verstappen was purple. He was nearly 3/10 up in the first sector alone compared to Norris. So when the yellow flags came out for George Russell, there was a huge sigh of relief in the McLaren garage, because they knew that it was not looking that quick for Lando Norris. I think Norris had already extracted the absolute maximum that he could out of his car in the first lap, but Verstappen still had a little bit more pace in his car, and he didn't get to show it, unfortunately. Yeah. Russell starting in the pits because of damage. He damaged his car, had to change his front wing, hence breaking park thermal regulations, and starts from the pit lane. Lawson starts in 19th because he's got a 60-place grid penalty for replacing every single engine component in his car. And then the rest of the drivers are just in their standard grid positions. 2018 was Kimi. Okay. Oh, 2018. Kimi won the race in 2018. I don't know if he got pole. Oh, 19 was Bottas, and 18 was Hamilton. All right. Thank you for the information, Arda. Right. 9 minutes now till we get underway. Folks, do let me know, will Lando Norris hold on to his lead? He's, of course, broken his little curse of losing the race lead every time he starts from pole. However, is that going to continue, or was that a one-off, or will he be able to continue doing that success? We saw in the sprint race, McLaren, they pulled a very good trick, really. They underfueled their car ever so slightly. Both drivers got fantastic launches, and because of that, they managed to, well, gain 2 positions off the start of the race. Norris went up 2 places. Piastri also went up 2 places. So maybe we'll see McLaren once again compromise their long-term race strategy by underfueling the car ever so slightly, so Norris can get a good start and hold on to the lead. That might be, the tiny factor that keeps him in first place. And if he holds on to that first place, then it's a lot easier. If you can keep first place at the end of lap number 1, you're a lot more likely to win the race than if you drop down back into 3rd position, even though you have the fastest car. Okay. Any chance of Liam getting into the points from P19? Unfortunately, I don't think that is going to happen because if you look at the top 10, it's already pretty crowded and full of fast cars. You've got Hamilton and Russell making their way through the pack. Unless there's a couple of DNFs further up the grid, it's going to be unlikely that Lawson will score some points. Yeah, he's got a lot of overtaking to do if he's going to score some points on his first weekend. Okay, maybe we'll see Hamilton make a pole, not a pole, make a podium, but I mean he's going to have to get ahead of 14 drivers to get up into 3rd place, and quite a lot of them. Well, he's going to have to get ahead of Piastri, he's going to get ahead of Leclerc and Sainz and Perez, all drivers who are very difficult to overtake. So we'll find out what happens. Do you think K-Mag can stay in the points? Yeah, I think the Hasses are actually pretty quick. Their race pace was good in the sprint race. Their quali pace was also good. I think K-Mag can stay in the points. Maybe Nico Hulkenberg even gets into the points. I don't know how good the Alpines will be in race spec. Their quali performance was fantastic. However, they were quite quick in a straight line, and typically that means they're running ever so slightly less downforce compared to everyone else, and that means that they're going to slide around a little bit more, their tyres are going to overheat a little bit more, and they're going to have a little bit more tyre wear as well. So, I think Alpine may have went for a quali spec car, and they've set everything up for quali, and they may suffer a little bit in the race, and Gasly might drop down from that 6th position, probably down into maybe 10th, maybe 9th, and maybe even out of the points. It all depends on how bad that tyre wear is for the Alpine car. Right. Carlos Sainz, stop it, Sainz. Yeah, I don't know what that's exactly about. I think they were cleaning something in the mic or something like that, and it was quite loud over the radio to Sainz. I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, we're getting radio checks coming through now. Radio checks for Hulkenberg, radio checks for Stroll. All right. Very nice. What do you think is a sudden improvement for Sainz's driving? I don't know really. I think Sainz has already was always a quick driver. I think Leclerc was sometimes outshadowing him in qualifying, and then when it came into the race, there was no sort of chance for Sainz to compete because Leclerc would already be too far up the road. So Sainz has managed to get his qualifying under control. Maybe this is just one of his better circuits. Maybe this is one of Charles's worst circuits. We've got a massive donation here. TR Green, $40. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you for all you do. And I'll be at the Mexican Grand Prix next weekend. I'm looking forward to listening to a commentary while doing the race IRL. Well, congratulations on getting tickets to the Mexican Grand Prix, and thank you so much for the donation. Hugely helps out the channel, and yeah, fantastic. Wow, incredible. I don't know what to say, but thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully you do enjoy it. I think there might be a bit of an issue in you listening to my commentary while at the race, because my commentary is delayed by around about a minute because of YouTube and the data that I have access to. And the race, is happening live. You can't exactly pause the race that's happening in front of you, but I'm sure there'll be a commentary that is happening at the circuit as well. So no, definitely do enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix. It's a fantastic circuit to be at, and there's always great racing there. Okay. What else have we got? Why is Verstappen in second place when he won the sprint? It's because after the sprint race finished, there was a qualifying session for this race. So the format previously was whoever won the sprint would start in pole for the race, but they changed the format. They added an extra qualifying session in, and then they said that they added an extra qualifying session in and said that whoever gets pole in that qualifying session will actually get pole in the race. Okay. What is the tyre strategy? The tyre strategy: start the race on the mediums, then go on to the hards, then go on to the mediums. That's the quickest according to Pirelli. However, we have seen in previous years pulling off a one-stop is possible at this circuit. And and you only lose 20 seconds in the pits. So a couple of other circuits you lose 24 seconds, which makes the chances of doing a two-stop a lot harder. Whereas now the chances of doing a two-stop are a lot easier because you lose 20 seconds rather than 24. Those 4 seconds that you save in the pit stops hugely help out. But here we go, folks. We are 3 minutes away from the start of the Grand Prix. We are here at round number 19 of 24 in the 2024 Formula One calendar at the Circuit of the Americas, 5.5 kilometers of pure asphalt and some fantastic corners on every single part of the track. The first sector filled with S's, so high speed, it is a absolute joy to watch the cars drive through there. And then you have turn number 11, a fantastic hairpin. Same thing for turn number 12. And then there's the amazing complex of corners of turn number 13, 14, 15, 16. We see so much side-by-side action throughout the race there in the sprint race. We're going to get so much more side-by-side action in today's race. We just have the tyre information coming through now. Everyone in the top 12 is starting the race on the medium tyres. We have Lance Stroll starting the race on the hards, Colapinto on the hards, Hamilton on the hards, Lawson and Russell. Everyone else will be on the mediums, but Lawson, Russell, Hamilton, Stroll, Colapinto on the hard tyres. All right. 2 minutes now till we get underway for the formation lap. George Russell starting from the pits. He crashed in qualifying, and because he crashed in qualifying, he damaged his front wing. He didn't have a exact duplicate front wing, so he had to replace his front wing with a different part, so a different version of the front wing, and the FIA doesn't allow that. If you want to replace a part, it has to be the exact same version. However, Mercedes hadn't manufactured enough of those front wings, so Russell had to switch back to an old spec front wing, and he has to start from the pit lane. So that's going to compromise him a little bit, because he would have been up in the top 10. But that's the way the things go. You make a mistake and you have to pay the price. All right, we've hit our like target. We are 8 subscribers away from hitting our subscriber target. So let me just increase both of them. You know what? Why not set it to 110k? Let's see if that is possible. And we'll increase the like target to 2,000 likes. Why not? All right, we've got 9,000 people tuned into live stream. This is absolutely fantastic, folks. We are 1 minute away from the start of the Grand Prix. 56 laps of racing here at COTA. The sun is shining. Track temperature is up at 47 degrees. The tyre wear is going to be enormous. And I think a two-stop is very, very likely. Hamilton's just come over the radio saying, damn, this is very far back. Hamilton's definitely not used to starting in 17th position. And he's just come over the radio to say that, oh, wow, I didn't realise how far back 17th place was. F1 Gamer, can you do a poll where we can predict the winner? I think I can set up a poll. I will close it there in a couple of minutes because I think quite a lot of people who join the stream, it just gets a little bit annoying because it clogs up the chat. I think you guys can the poll isn't exactly going to predict who's going to win, but you guys can probably just type it in the chat who you think is going to win. But we are now seconds away from the formation lap, formation lap starting, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We are at 11,000 viewers. That is incredible. We're going to have a fantastic US Grand Prix, 30 seconds left to go, and all of the drivers are making their way around the circuit for the first time. All right, let's get rid of this timer. So we've got all the team radios, 15 seconds. The drivers have got their pit limiters on. So now on the formation lap, everyone's just going to be driving around, getting those tyre temperatures up, getting the brake temperatures up, weaving and getting those clutch settings dialed in for the start of the race. All right, here we go. We're going to go from the bottom of the grid all the way to the top. George Russell, after having a crash in quali, starts from the pit lane. Liam Lawson, his first ever Formula One Grand Prix, has been hit with a 60-place grid penalty after replacing every single engine component in his car. So he's going to be starting from the back as well. Zhou had a bit of a bad qualifying, likewise for Lewis Hamilton in 17th place. Oh, my battery is running low? What is that? I plugged my laptop in. Right, let me fix that, folks. Because if my laptop runs out of battery, that's not going to be ideal. Okay, it says 6%. Hopefully it doesn't run out. I've plugged it in. The light is on, so hopefully, right. Okay. Back to the race. It's been a while since we've seen Bottas and Hamilton next to each other. Normally they were up in first and second position, or second and third position, but now it is 16th and 17th position for Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Very interesting there. And then we've got Colapinto starting in the race in 15th place, just behind his teammate Albon. Albon on the mediums, Colapinto on the hards. Then we have Stroll in 13th position, starting on the race on hard tyres. Then we have Esteban Ocon in 12th, the much slower than his teammate actually. And Ocon's got a lot of progress to make if he's going to keep up with Pierre Gasly. Hulkenberg in 11th, Tsunoda in 10th, Perez in 9th place. He's got a lot of ground to make up. He's been quite a bit slower than his teammate, and it's fairly typical really for Sergio Perez, unfortunately. I'd like to see him up there at the top, but it just doesn't happen all that often. We got K-Mag up in 8th. The Haas has been doing fantastically. Somehow Fernando Alonso managed to scrape that and drag that Aston Martin up into 7th place, and the exact same thing can be said for Pierre Gasly, who's up into 6th position. Then, of course, we have got the front runners. We've got Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri in 5th, Charles Leclerc in 4th, and then Sainz in 3rd, Max Verstappen in 2nd, and Lando Norris in 1st, starting the race up in pole position. All right, all of the drivers now very slowly making their way to the start of the grid, and yeah, we're going to get underway for some racing very, very shortly. George Russell starts from the pits. Everyone else is on the circuit. The track length is 5.5 kilometers. We're going to have 56 laps of racing here. The driver's just frozen and they're back. All right, very nice. Here we go for some racing. Everyone now slowly approaching the back of the grid. All of the clutch settings are dialed in. We've had a couple of burnouts as well. We're seeing just the radio messages. Do 2 burnouts before you come into the grid, into your grid position, and your rear tyres will be in the perfect window for the race start. Right. The last car is now approaching the back of the grid. The medical car is lined up and into position, and there we go. Liam Lawson starts the race in 19th place. And Zhou lines up into the 18th place slot. Lawson lines up into the 19th place slot. The green flag is now waving. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. The lights are out and we are racing, folks. And Verstappen gets a great start. Norris already looking to cover him off, and they look to go 3 wide into the inside. Verstappen sends one down the inside. Can he get ahead of Lando Norris? He pushes him off the circuit, and the Ferraris are through. Leclerc gets through into first place. What a move, and there are yellow flags at the back. Someone's going slowly. Esteban Ocon is going slowly. Is that going to get resolved very quickly? Yes, it is. I think Ocon just had a spin, but Leclerc's through into the lead of this race. Verstappen into second place. Sainz in third, and Norris has bottled the race start once again. He starts in first position and he's already down into fourth, and we haven't even made it through the first sector. Oh no, no, no. What has happened here for Lando Norris? He got squeezed out by Verstappen, and both Ferraris pounced on the opportunity to get up into the podium places. Norris is totally back with his very typical race starts. We'll get a replay shortly of what happened to Esteban Ocon, but now going down into turn number 1, Charles Leclerc is coming under pressure. Not turn number 1, sorry, turn number 12, and Leclerc's under pressure. And in fact, Sainz sends a move down the inside of Verstappen. They go wide, and Verstappen, he just manages to stay ahead. This was so close between Sainz and Verstappen here. And is Sainz going to be able to swoop round the outside as they go through turn number 15? He gets the switchback done, and no, unfortunately, Verstappen just manages to hang on there, and Sainz stays in third place. Verstappen and Sainz are squabbling so hard. The Ferraris look fantastic. Sainz was squabbling with Leclerc the whole of the sprint race. It looks like Sainz might be fighting with Verstappen, and Sainz has done a huge favour to his teammate. Absolutely enormous. Look at that gap between Leclerc and Verstappen. The gap is 1.6 seconds. The one overtake, the one dive bomb that Carlos Sainz sent down the inside on Verstappen, that has helped his teammate so much. He's broken DRS already, and Leclerc has a fantastic shot of winning this race because of it. So he's got his teammate to thank, and we'll see what Carlos Sainz can do now. He's following Max Verstappen as they go through the first sector, nose to tail. The gap is 0.7 of a second, but they are taking the exact same racing lines as each other as they go through those corners. And it's going to be very close for these drivers now. All right. Here they come then. DRS has been enabled, and you see that little green button for Carlos Sainz, and there we go. He's enabled DRS as he charges down the straight now, and will it be close enough to gain on Verstappen? 0.2 is the gap. Does he look to the inside? Yes, he does. Can he get that move done? They are side by side going through into turn number 3. Into turn number 13, and Verstappen just late enough on the brakes to hold off Carlos Sainz there. Very late braking from Max Verstappen. And Sainz, he tries to get the switch back. Can he get it done? Side by side into turn number 15, and Verstappen on the inside line, Sainz on the outside line. Sainz once again tries to switch back, but Verstappen is just hanging on. He's just getting enough good traction there, and he can keep that second place for now. Alright, but it's now Sainz's duty. Sainz has got to keep squabbling with Verstappen so Leclerc can run away with this race because, oh, another yellow flag. Hamilton's stopped on the side of the circuit. Is he going slowly or has he crashed? I don't know for now, but a yellow flag for Lewis Hamilton. And is he moving once again, or is he still stuck on the circuit? He's beached. We're going to have to have a safety car here. Hamilton is stuck in the gravel. George Russell crashed here yesterday. Lewis Hamilton has crashed there today. No damage to his car, but he's beached in the gravel. We're going to have a safety car for this one, and that is going to close the field right back up. And then we're going to have Charles Leclerc versus Max Verstappen versus Sainz versus Norris versus Piastri. 5 drivers all going for the win here off a safety car restart. This is going to be fantastic. I don't know why they haven't deployed the safety car yet, because it's quite certain that Hamilton is not going to get out of that gravel trap. The car is totally beached, and we know that Formula 1 cars don't have the best off-roading capabilities. And there we go. Safety car has been deployed. It comes out of the pit lane. Everyone's slowed down, and well, we're going to have some very good racing. Finally, after 10 races of the safety car not coming out onto the circuit, we have got a safety car deployed, and well, it's a fantastic safety car, and we're going to have such good racing when the restart happens. Hamilton gets out of the car, it's beached, he can't move the gravel out of the way, and there's no way that he can do anything about that. We're going to get a replay very soon about what happened to Hamilton, but I think it was just a little mistake there. As you go into the turn number 19, if you're a little bit too much on the curbs, too much on the white line, and you lose the car, it spins around and there's nothing that you can do. All right. Wow, but there we go. The safety cars waiting at turn number 1, and Charles Leclerc, Verstappen all come around the circuit. No, I don't think anyone is going to come in for an early pit stop. It wouldn't make sense to do that. So yeah, everyone has slowed down. Everyone's slowed down. Everyone's just driving through, and now the safety cars got going again. Yeah. All right, very nice. Norris even got a better start here. We're looking at this. Norris's reaction time was 0.27 seconds. However, if you compared the 0 to 200 kilometers 200 kilometers time. Leclerc was actually quicker to 200 kilometers than Norris was, even though Norris had the better reaction time. That just goes to show you how much traction the Ferrari can get off the race start, and the McLaren can absolutely not. Of course, there was the fact that Norris got slightly, he got pushed off the circuit at the start of the race, so we'll see what happens there, but it's been in... actually, it's not... Norris isn't even getting investigated, neither is Verstappen. A lap 1, turn 1 incident between Albon and Ocon has been noted for causing a collision. I think Ocon got spun around by Albon. Albon a little too late on the brakes, I think. And yeah, Albon comes into the pits to replace his front wing. That makes sense, doesn't it? All right. The safety car is still out. It's going to take a while for them to get a lorry out onto the circuit to pick that car up. But for now, everyone just driving around very, very slowly. And this is going to help anyone that wants to try and do a one-stop strategy. You know, every single lap you spend behind the safety car, that's not really a lap of tyre wear that you're doing on your car. So you might as well just... you could be able to pull off a one-stop because the safety car will help you out. Yeah, we've got a thing from Lewis Hamilton here. It's just a replay. He just spins out and then he says sorry. He spins out, loses the car, and unfortunately Hamilton is out of the race. Okay, Norris, they've come over the radio to Norris saying that they've reported the incident from turn number 1. And Norris comes over the radio saying, yeah, I mean, he clearly pushed me out. He had no intent of making the corner. He even ran off the track. So I just had to avoid crashing into him or him crashing into me. But yeah, so Norris is saying that Verstappen was just being far too aggressive, just pushing him off the circuit at turn number 1. Now we'll see if the FIA believe that and are they going to give him a penalty, but I don't think anything is under investigation as of now. There's a recovery vehicle at turn number 19. They're just they've picked the car up. In fact, they have the lorry's got it up, and the tractor's picked the car up, and now they're slowly escorting it off the circuit. I think maybe 2 more laps behind the safety car, and then we'll be racing. But yeah, the race start was fantastic, and now, we're going to have a fantastic safety car restart as well. Okay. What happened to Lewis? He had a crash. Crashed at turn number 19 and spun the car, got stuck in the gravel. All right, 21,000 people tuning into live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's a huge, it's fantastic to have you here. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you can't type in the chat, you've just got to hit the subscribe button for 1 minute. And then once you press the subscribe button, wait 1 minute, and then you can type in the chat. That's the rules, just to prevent a little bit of too much spam happening in the chat. I think I might even activate slow mode. It will slow down this chat a little bit and not affect, so our moderators can actually mod it properly. I don't think Verstappen will be getting a penalty. There's not under investigation or anything like that. And, all right. Here we go. We've got a replay here from Max Verstappen. He is just going straight to the inside of Lando Norris. Brakes probably 5-10 meters behind him. And Verstappen, in fact, he does technically make the corner. He stays within the circuit. He does push out Norris quite significantly. Oh, safety car's in this lap, folks. Safety car is in this lap. I thought we'd have another extra lap, but we've just had the message from race control. Safety car is in this lap. You can see all of the team radio messages now coming through saying safety car in this lap. Right, very nice. Here we go then. I'm going to have a quick sip of water, in fact. The safety car's gone ahead. Charles Leclerc's backing everyone up. He's probably just going to go at turn number 20. There's no point going that early. It's just going to give the other drivers more of a chance to slipstream him. But yeah, I'm going to have a quick sip of water, and this is going to be a fantastic race. We've already hit our like target, so let's just knock that up. I'm going to put it to 4,000, really, because we have so many people in the chat, so many people hitting the like button. It's very much appreciated, folks. Yeah, right. A quick sip of water, and then we're going to get some more racing. Oh, Peter Mohan, thank you for the donate. Thank you for joining the channel membership. Very much is appreciated. Alright, the green flag is out and we are racing. Charles Leclerc is getting totally slipstreamed by Max Verstappen. All of the hard work that Carlos Sainz put in to try and break the DRS for his teammates, that has gone totally out of the window. And Max Verstappen is closing up on Charles Leclerc at a rate of knots. I don't think Leclerc did a proper warm-up procedure on his tyres because Verstappen is closing in fast. All right, here they go through the first sector. I mean, that's going to warm up Charles Leclerc's tyres. I can tell you that for certain because it's so high speed. But yeah, Leclerc has got to be paying attention in his mirrors now. No DRS for this lap. Next lap we will have DRS enabled, and let's wait and see what will happen. All right, here we are, lap number 6 of 56. Stroll's lost quite a few places. He goes down. He loses the position to Bottas. Oh, we've got Shush. Shush, thank you for joining. The channel membership, and Mystic Fox, thank you for the €1 donation, very much is appreciated. As the drivers now head towards turn number 12, Charles Leclerc manages to just hang on. He got good enough traction out of turn number 11, meaning that he could hold on to that place at turn number 12, so a good job there from Charles Leclerc. And the next lap it's going to be even tougher because he's going to have DRS, and that's going to be even harder. Oh, we've got another member, the Boss 1801, thank you for joining the channel membership. And oh, here we go, we've got Colapinto. Is he swooping around the outside? Oh no, Stroll goes round the outside of Alex Albon. Nicely done there from Lance Stroll. Some very good racing there at the back of the pack, very close, very tight, and Stroll just squeezes ahead of Alexander Albon. Very nice. Albon's race isn't totally compromised because he did have his front wing changed. However, he came out on a fresh set of mediums, and with a new front wing as well. Oh, Shush has donated £1. Thank you, Shush, for donating. Wow, this is incredible. Thank you so much. So many donations coming through. Charles Leclerc quickest in the final sector. Charles Leclerc quickest in the first sector. However, Max Verstappen ever so slightly quicker. And look at that gap, 1.3 seconds. He's not going to have DRS. And who is going to have DRS? It's Carlos Sainz. Sainz is going to have DRS on Verstappen now as they go through turn number 11. And Sainz is looking extremely racy. The Ferraris were so quick. DRS has been enabled. We've just had a bunch of team radio messages coming through saying that DRS is enabled. And look at that, the green button lights up next to Carlos Sainz's name. The gap is 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second. They go down the straight. What can Carlos Sainz do? A little bit too far back from move on this lap. However, he will be closer on the next lap. They've come over the radio to Leclerc to say, good job, no DRS for Max. Leclerc has done his mission. That was the whole focus of lap number 1. Do not give DRS to Max Verstappen, and it's mission successful for Charles Leclerc. However, he's still got 50 laps left of this race, so we'll see if he can hang on. I mean, as of right now, it's not Charles Leclerc who's hanging on, it's Max Verstappen who's hanging on. Carlos Sainz is all over the back of him, taking left, he's in his left mirror, he's in his right mirror. Carlos Sainz is putting so much pressure on Max Verstappen. I don't think the pressure's going to get to Verstappen, but he's going to start feeling the heat very soon. And Sainz has got to be careful here. If he battles with Verstappen too hard, then guess who's going to come up behind him? Lando Norris is only 2 seconds back. So it won't be long till Norris will show up at the fight if Carlos Sainz doesn't get an overtake done very nicely, quickly and smoothly. All right, but yeah, Carlos is going to come in clutch. If they want to play the team game, it's Carlos Sainz's job to battle Verstappen to make sure that Leclerc can run away with the race. But I don't think that's happening. Sainz has just backed off ever so slightly. His first sector, not as quick as his previous lap. And Verstappen's the one with the purple first sector. Sainz has made a mistake. I think he's 0.7 slower in the first sector. He's lost DRS to Verstappen, and there's no chance that he can now. There's no chance that he's getting that overtake done. So Verstappen has now got no one ahead of him for DRS, but no one behind him as well. He's got 1.5 seconds to catch up to Leclerc to get an overtake done. What happened to Hamilton? He crashed up. He crashed at turn number 19. I think I'm just going to stick that up on the screen because so many people are going to ask. Hamilton crashed at T19. Right. Let's just stick that up on the screen. There we go. All right. So hopefully we don't get too many questions asking about that. Anyway, fast lap of the race currently held by Charles Leclerc as he comes across the start-finish line. He is a what's that, 4/10 of a second slower than his personal best, and Carlos and Max Verstappen as well, he's 3/10 slower. All of the drivers now, they've gone into high conservation mode already. It's going to be a very, very long race. Pirelli predicted high tyre wear, track temperatures at 47 degrees, and the initial 4 laps behind the safety car, that's really going to help out. However, it's not going to be enough to do a one-stop stint. So a one-stop strategy, and everyone is going to have to still do tyre wear. Still do tyre wear, still do tyre management. All right. Oh, look at that. Purple first sector from Charles Leclerc. He's dropped Max Verstappen here. He's pushed very, very hard there. And look at that gap, 2.5 seconds. Nicely done from Charles Leclerc. And he's had a fantastic race start. He started the race down in 4th position, up into 1st place for Charles Leclerc. Peter Mohan has donated once again. Best of both worlds. Watching the race muted, no commercials, listening to you live. Wow. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. It's quite a big compliment when people turn off the professional commentary and listen to mine instead. So thank you very much, Peter. Wow. All right, we've got a battle going down in 6th and 7th position. Pierre Gasly fighting Kevin Magnussen for that 6th place spot. K-Mag has got DRS, and he got perilously close to making a move going down into turn number 12. However, he's decided to think better of it, and he continues onwards to wait for another opportunity. And Perez is trying to overtake Tsunoda. It's quite ironic. I don't know even if ironic is the right word. It's just a bit funny that Sergio Perez in the main Red Bull car is trying to overtake Yuki Tsunoda in the sister Red Bull, which is significantly slower than the main Red Bull car. Carlos said he smells a lot of fuel. I'm not sure exactly. I saw that Carlos said it smells like gargoyles, but that was the AI transcription, so I'm not sure. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Someone's going slowly. Is that Zhou? I think Zhou's had a spin. Yeah, Zhou spun at turn number 1. He's just got back, and he's just going once again. All right. Yeah, okay, they fixed whatever issue at Sainz's car, maybe. Not sure what's happened there for Zhou, but yeah, had a bit of a spin at turn number 1. I mean, he got on the throttle too early. That's what happened, and he's ended up in last place. I don't think he got a tap from it. Oh, maybe he did get a tap. He's coming over the radio to complain. I think he might have got a tap from... It was either the Alpine or Alex Albon. I'm not 100% sure. But Zhou might have got a tap there, and it might not have been a spin that was totally his fault. All right. George Russell trying to overtake the driver that he replaced at Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas in 14th position, George Russell in 15th, and Russell stuck behind Bottas here because Bottas has got DRS of Colapinto. Colapinto has maybe got DRS off Lawson, depending on if he can stay within 1 second at the next detection point, but. Yeah, Russell's on those hard tyres, Bottas is on the mediums, and that's why Russell is stuck there in 15th place. F1 Gamer Science said it smells like fuel in the gargoyles, whatever that means. Okay, I don't know. We'll keep investigating. We'll see if any more team radios come through, but Carlos Sainz is still driving around just fine. I'm sure it's a pretty big risk to be soaked in fuel. If he's smelling fuel, there must be fuel somewhere. But I'm not sure how he's exactly smelling fuel, because if he's got his helmet on and he's driving around at 200 kilometers an hour, surely all of the air that you were smelling has just been blown away anyway. So I don't know how he's smelling fuel, to be honest. All right. They've just come over the radio sign saying now you can see, now just keep hanging in there. They've just told him to keep hanging in there, really. The gap 1.5 seconds to Max Verstappen. He's just going to stay within that range, because this is the thing. It's 2 Ferraris versus 1 Red Bull, so they can play games here. Sainz can pit a little bit early, compromise his second stint, a little bit, and he can try to undercut Max Verstappen. We know at circuits where there's high tyre wear, there's going to be a lot of undercut potential, and because of that, Sainz could definitely try to undercut Max Verstappen and ensure that Leclerc wins this race, if that's how Ferrari want to do things. Right. We've just had Lawson overtake Fernando Alonso. A very nice move there. Lawson and Alonso got quite heated after the end of the sprint race. Lawson was overly aggressive, apparently, according to Alonso, and because of that, Alonso at the end of the race said, "Oh mate, I'm so annoyed at you. I'm going to screw over your qualifying." And Alonso did screw over his qualifying. However, Lawson has just got him back and has just overtook Alonso on the racetrack once again. And also, I would like to say, Liam Lawson started the race in 19th position. He's gained 8 places since the race has started, and there's only been one DNF, so that's only one position that he got, for free. Essentially, every other overtake that he has made on pure performance, pure skill. And Lawson here, he pushes Alonso off onto the grass, and Alonso's not going to be pleased about that. They already had a little bit of a disagreement yesterday when Alonso thinks Lawson squeezed him far too much towards the hairpin of turn number 12, and now Alonso is going to be even more furious. And here they go down the main straight. Alonso, he has got DRS on Lawson, but that gap is ever so slightly over a second, and he is far too far back to get an overtake done. Yeah, wow. The AlphaTauri is very quick this weekend, and we could see, I think someone asked, in fact, at the start of the stream, can Lawson score points? I was like, oh, that's pretty unlikely. I think Lawson starting the race in 19th. There's going to have to be a couple of DNFs, maybe 3-4, before he can get anywhere near the points. And here he is, in 11th position, only 2.5 seconds back from Nico Hülkenberg. A solid job. The newest Formula 1 driver versus the oldest, indeed. And I'm fully supportive of Liam Lawson because his racing idol is Lightning McQueen, and I would say the exact same. Lightning McQueen and Sebastian Vettel, those are my two racing idols, and yeah, Liam Lawson's a big fan of Lightning McQueen. So ka-chow. Lap number 13 of 53, Charles Leclerc, still fastest first sector. Still, he's got pace in his tyres. He hasn't pushed too hard and worn out his tyres too much. And we're approaching now the pit stop window. Lap number 18 to 20 is when we will start seeing the first round of pit stops. All right. Very nice, very nice. Look at the gap up at the front as well. Charles Leclerc has built out a 5-second gap to Max Verstappen. Wow. I mean, Verstappen, I can tell you for sure, does not care that much because he knows that he is 2 places ahead of Norris. And Norris is going to score, Verstappen's going to score 18 points. Norris is, I think, going to score 12 points or 10 points. And as long as Verstappen gets more points than Norris, Verstappen doesn't really care that much about winning the race or not. I'm thinking the championship is much bigger picture that Leclerc... that Verstappen is thinking about. Whereas Leclerc is definitely thinking about this race win. All right. They've said here, they've come over the radio to Leclerc saying, if you keep this gap to Verstappen, we're happy with plan A and we'll keep plan B to a baseline. And Leclerc comes over the radio saying, no, I want plan B or plan C. So Leclerc doesn't want to go with plan A. I'm not sure what plan A is. You can never tell with Ferrari. Is it going to be a 1-stop? Is it going to be a 4-stop strategy? But we shall see. Yeah. Lawson is on the hards. Oh yeah, Lawson is on the hards. Thank you for pointing that out, Vedran. And yeah, Lawson's on hard tyres, and he's overtook quite a few people on mediums. In fact, Lawson is the highest runner of the hard tyres. Everyone else who's on the hards is behind him. Lawson is ahead of Russell. Russell also started the race in 20th position. He's only made 6 places of progress. Lawson started the race in 19th, and he's made 8 positions of progress. Lawson making more progress than George Russell. How has this happened? Well, there's obviously the aspect that Lawson has got a fresh engine. They probably knew that Lawson was going to do a lot of overtaking, hence they've reduced the downforce that he's got, so that's going to help him down the straights. But nonetheless, you've got to give huge props to Lawson for, in his first Formula 1 race, making up 8 positions in the first 14 laps of the race. Fantastic stuff. George Russell gets the overtake done on Franco Colapinto as they go down into turn number 12. Nicely done from George Russell. And And yeah, also, folks, I would like to just ask one question here, because the third sector of this lap is very clumped up, and all of the circuit is right next to each other. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to read the names of all of the drivers. I have the ability to make the circles smaller. However, I know a lot of you may be watching on your phone, and if it's a little smaller, would that be all right? Because I think it's easier for to read the names of the drivers on the circuit if the circles are ever so slightly smaller. So I don't know, just let me know, because the sector 3 of Mexico is a very similar situation. The stadium section, it's all clumped together, and because of that, there's going to be a lot of overlap in Mexico as well. All right, this size is fine. Okay, not smaller. Okay, most people are saying it's fine. A couple of people are saying smaller. I can't change it right now. But you know what I'll do? I'll just have a look at the chat. I can download the chat at the end of the stream, and I'll have a look through and search how many times people said smaller and how many times people said bigger. But for now, I can't really change it. I have to change it before I start streaming. So yeah. All right. Guan Yu Zhou was the first driver to come into the pits. That's why he is right so far back, and a set of medium tyres for him as he comes out of the pit lane. The drivers lose 20 seconds here as they come into the pits. So if Charles Leclerc does come into the pits now, he's going to come out just behind Kevin Magnussen, 21 seconds. So it'll be borderline with about if he's ahead or behind of Magnussen. And he does not want to come out there. Ideally, he wants to build out the gap just enough to get ahead out of Gasly. Because if you look, there is so much traffic behind Gasly. There is a whole bunch of cars. So the main focus for Charles Leclerc now is to build the gap to Gasly to maybe 22 seconds, 23. And then he can come into the pits and not worry too much about being stuck in traffic. Also, folks, a 5-second time penalty has been given to George Russell for forcing a driver off the circuit. He must have made an overtake on someone that I haven't seen yet. In fact, we've just got the replay here. George Russell, he looks to the inside, sends a huge dive bomb in, and he touches one of the Sauber cars, and he pushes them off the circuit. And I think that was Guan Yu Zhou. Yeah, he pushed Zhou off the... Oh, no, he pushed Bottas off the circuit, sorry. And that's why he has been given a 5-second time penalty. Not ideal there for George Russell. He's already in 13th position in the Mercedes, and he's already started the race from the pit lane, and now to add to that, he's been given a 5-second time penalty. Bottas comes out on a set of medium tyres, so he's going for the mediums onto the hards, whereas Zhou is going mediums onto the mediums and then onto the hards, most likely. Yeah. Right. Russell's just been told that Russell's been told we have got a 5-second time penalty for forcing Valtteri off the track, and Russell's just said what ? Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't that aggressive of an overtake. We've seen more aggressive overtakes at the start of the race and from other drivers, but I guess the FIA are inconsistent. They are consistently inconsistent, the FIA, and that shouldn't have been a 5-second time penalty. I don't think. I don't think Bottas complained, really. He knew that the Mercedes was quicker than him. He just happened to go off the road because he may have outbraked himself. I'm not sure. I guess he did force Bottas off, but I don't know. It's interesting. And yeah, Russell's come over the radio. Absolute total joke, George. Oh wait, let me read what this is. The Mercedes engineer has come over the radio to George Russell and said, total joke, George, with the penalty. Total joke. Wow. Normally the engineers get a lot of flack from the FIA for saying that kind of stuff. I think Gunter Steiner said something about the FIA saying that they're stupid and they're idiots or something, and then the next weekend he had to go into the stewards room and explain why he said that they were stupid. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. The stewards have been I don't know what's up with them, but what can you say? What can you do, really? All right, lap number 17. Sergio Perez got DRS on Tsunoda, but still stuck behind him. And yeah. Right. Oh yeah. This is the thing. It's very interesting. Like in all of the other sports. So, for example, if we take football and cricket as examples, Perez has just made the overtake on Yuki Tsunoda. Finally, he's got that one done after 17 laps of racing. Tsunoda tries to fight this one back as well, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the move done yet. Perez has confirmed that spot as they go through into turn number 15. Okay. Yeah, in sports like football and sports like cricket, they have professional, referees or professional umpires for the sport, and they're trained. Their entire job is just to be the best possible human being to identify whether something's a penalty, whether something's not, whether it's a yellow card or an infringement or something like that. And with the FIA, they don't have any specific stewards. They just have random people that they hire on every single weekend. So some weekend they'll have super strict stewards, some weekends they'll have super lenient stewards, and there's no consistency. There's ideally, what I think should happen is that they should have maybe 5 stewards that their only job is to be stewards for Formula One. And then it's only those 5 stewards that dictate the penalties, that dictate how many fines are awarded and all of these things in the races, rather than having, 3 new stewards at every single Grand Prix. All right. But anyway, let's get back into the race at hand. We've had Alex Albon come into the pits, Kevin Magnussen also come into the pits. We're approaching the pit stops windows now. The drivers have done 18 laps on these medium tyres, 17 laps on the mediums. However, a couple of those laps were behind the safety car, so you can push the first stint out maybe an extra 2 or 3 laps before everyone starts coming into the pits. Charles Leclerc, look at that gap though, 8 seconds to Max Verstappen, and if he comes into the pits now, he will come out ahead of Pierre Gasly. He'll come out in clean air as well, so that might be the move for Charles Leclerc. As soon as he can, come into the pits, stay out ahead of Gasly, and put in some really quick laps while in clean air. Okay. The problem with a fixed steward is it makes it much easier to persuade them to rule one way or another. Well, I don't think, I don't know. I guess it is, maybe you can persuade them, but the thing is, the team should only, I guess you'd have to monitor the communications between the teams, because obviously in football as well, you see a lot of, the captain will go up to the referee and say certain things, and if he says the right words, then maybe they'll only give a yellow card instead of a red card, or something like that. But I think there's an aspect of all of that in every sport, and you could persuade them in every single weekend, really. It's just that you're more likely to persuade them if you know them a little bit better. I don't know. But we shall see. Liam Lawson is up into 8th. However, he hasn't come into the pits yet. We've had quite a few drivers ahead of him who have come into the pits, so let's not read into that too much. But nonetheless, the progress he's made is fantastic. He's made the same progress as George Russell, really, and Russell only 1.3 seconds behind Lawson here. So a fantastic job from Liam Lawson so far. And Charles Leclerc, though, is our race leader, and he's building that gap consistently, so consistently. On the previous lap, 0.4 of a second quicker than Max Verstappen here. Verstappen could be going for a one-stop. For all we know, his lap times are so slow. Well, no, they're not so slow, but they are considerably slower than what you would expect. And maybe his tyres have worn out, but I have a feeling that Verstappen may be going for a one-stop race. Conserve the tyres as much as possible, and only come into the pits for 20 seconds rather than 40 seconds in total. All right. Let's wait and see. But we're on lap number 20 now of 56. We're 1/3 of the way through this race, and we've only had, 6 drivers come into the pits. 1 DNF, of course, Lewis Hamilton, after crashing at turn number 19. And, some fantastic racing to start the race off. It's died down a little bit, but as soon as the pit stops come through and the drivers are back out on fresh sets, we will probably get some very good racing as well. Carlos Sainz versus Verstappen. I think Sainz is going to try to pull off an undercut. Who knows what will happen, but it's going to be very, very exciting either way. What is the idea of an undercut? Yeah, well, sure, I'll explain that. So, for any of you folks that don't know, what happens right now is the drivers, let's take Verstappen and Sainz for an example here. So Verstappen is out on 19-lap-old medium tires, and the best lap time that you can do on those old tires is around about a 1:38 or 1 minute 40 lap time approximately, right? And Carlos Sainz is also doing around about a 1 minute 40 lap time. However, if Sainz comes into the pit lane right now and puts on a fresh set of medium tyres, he can reduce that from a 140 down into a 139 or even a 138 if he's pushing really hard. So, by doing that, Verstappen will still continue doing laps of 1 minute 40 seconds. Carlos Sainz, however, will be doing laps of 1 minute 38 seconds. So, when Verstappen comes into the pits, Sainz will have gained time on him because he's been lapping around quicker, and then when Verstappen comes into the pits, he'll actually end up behind Carlos Sainz because Sainz was quicker on his fresh tyres. So that is the idea of the undercut. The obvious problem with that is that if you pit a little bit too early, your tyres are going to wear out quicker, and then the driver could re-overtake you. But yeah, at a circuit where we have very high tyre wear, like the circuit of the Americas, it's most likely that we're going to see... Ooh, I've just dropped my water bottle there. It's most likely that we're going to see the undercut work and the disadvantages not be all that significant. Right. Here we go then. Lap number 21 of 56. Perez said that you could have pitted by now, and yeah, they've just come over that. We've just had a graphic come up on screen saying the undercut is a high risk threat for Max Verstappen. So I don't know what Red Bull are exactly going to do to cover him off. The only way to prevent an undercut from happening is to come into the pits early. Oh, we've got a radio message to Verstappen. Carlos has been told to push Max, could be boxing. So, yeah, they've said to Sainz, go shock 4, which is obviously changing some sort of setting, and push. So that's quite likely that Sainz could be coming to the pits here. Is he going to come into the pits? Yes, he is. Carlos Sainz dives into the pit lane, and we could see an undercut working out for him here. Now, let's keep an eye out on Verstappen's lap times here. Verstappen a 1:39.8 on the previous lap. Now, let's see what he can do. People are saying that Lando should have got the start right. Even if he got the start right, Charles would have caught him as he's flying. Yeah, Charles probably would have caught him. But, yeah. Another problem is that with the one stop and will your tyres last? Yeah, that is the other problem. Will your tyres make it to the end of the race? But Sainz comes out of the pits. He comes out on a set of hard tyres, so he's not going onto the mediums. I don't know why they've done that. Maybe they're, potentially flirting with the idea of doing a one-stop, and that's why they've come out on the hards. However, if they went out on the mediums, it would have cemented the idea of doing the undercut and actually getting it to work, because it's a little bit harder on those hard tyres, just purely down to the fact that the hards will take a longer time to warm up and get up into temperature before you can attack, and they just don't have as much grip as the medium tyres as well. Lando is starting to close the gap. Let's have a look. His previous lap was 0.4 of a second quicker. I think Lando might also just be attacking because he might come into the pits as well. I don't think that Lando is going to be closing the gap. I don't think the McLarens have that much pace. But we shall wait and see. All right, we've got an overtake here. Kevin Magnussen on Alex Albon. I think Kevin Magnussen technically overtook him on the outside of the circuit. Oh, no. He was trying to overtake him outside the circuit, decided better of it, and then overtook him at turn number 15. Nicely done there from K-Mag. Gets ahead of Alex Albon and has now got DRS on Stroll, making some solid progress there. In fact, K-Mag is the highest driver that has come into the pits. Well, I guess if you ignore Sainz, he's the quickest, highest position driver who's already done their pit stop. Very nice. Okay, oh, look at that. Purple second sector for Sainz, purple third sector for Sainz, and he is gaining time rapidly. Verstappen doesn't come into the pits, so either they're going to try an overcut or they're going to do a one-stop. With 34 laps remaining, maybe you could drag those hard tyres all the way to the end of the race. It's a very, very big maybe, though. I'll just check what Pirelli said you could do for one set of hard tyres. Pirelli said that you could do, at most, you could do 20 through, at most you could do 30 laps. So doing 34 laps is within reach. However, you may need a safety car, or you may just need to do a lot of tyre conservation. Right. Yeah, clean air is king. And look at that. Carlos Sainz has got a huge amount of clean air. I don't think Verstappen is at all under threat from Charles Leclerc. Leclerc is 10 seconds up the road, and he's just driving his own race, really. Looking at those lap times, he's consistently half a second quicker than Verstappen. You would have expected Verstappen to pick up the pace, considering Carlos Sainz has come into the pits. However, he hasn't. His lap times are exactly the same, even though they've got ever so slightly slower, in fact, compared to his previous lap. He comes across the line, he goes half a second slower than he was before. So yeah, I don't know what's going on here with Max Verstappen, but yeah, it might be a one-stop strategy. If his pace is reduced so much, then a one-stop is looking more and more likely. We'll keep an eye out on it, though. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay, look at that. Fastest lap of the race there for Carlos Sainz. And, well, he's definitely pushing now. I think that's going to be the end of his push stint, though. And he's now just going to... Because he's already gained more than enough time on Max Verstappen to get ahead of him in the pit stops. If Verstappen does pit now, all he's going to do is continue cruising around and try to ensure his tyres last potentially to the end of the race. The map's lagging. Yeah, I know. I mean, if it lags too much, I'll just refresh the data, and it'll be good to go. But yeah, for now, let's just hope it keeps hanging in there. All right. Yeah, let me know who your driver of the day is so far. I would definitely go with Liam Lawson, considering it's his first Formula 1 Grand Prix. He has just been overtaken by George Russell a lap or two ago. But yeah, I mean, George Russell's in the Mercedes, Liam Lawson's in the Racing Bull, totally different ballpark of performance. So yeah, I think Liam Lawson is most definitely my driver of the day. Track temperature is up at 48 degrees, 47.8 degrees to be exact. And... essentially, yeah, he is track temperature, tyre wear is going to be pretty high, but Verstappen, if he comes into the pits now, he will come out behind Carlos Sainz. So the question remains is he going to come into the pits, or is he going to do a one-stop? And he continues onwards, and it's a one-stop for him. Well, I don't know if it's a one-stop, but he's not coming into the pits, I can tell you that. All right, Leclerc has just come over the radio saying, well, actually, they've asked Leclerc over the radio saying, okay, how many more laps can you do on these tyres? And Leclerc has just said, I'm okay, but, like, let's focus on Plan C. So I don't know exactly what Plan C is. Maybe Plan C is a one-stop. It should be a one-stop, really. It looks like they can do it. If they've done 24 laps on mediums, they could probably do 32 laps on hards. And yeah. So let's wait and see. But I think Ferrari might have pitted Sainz a little bit too early. Like, he will have gained time, of course, and he may have got ahead of Verstappen. However, if Verstappen pits in 5 laps time, Sainz is going to have Sainz is going to have old hard tyres. Verstappen's going to have fresh hard tyres. So yeah, Verstappen comes over the radio saying his front left tyre is really bad. But, he's just going to have to manage somehow. The front left tyre gets so much life taken out of it. Going through turn number 14, 15 and 16, where Norris and Verstappen are right now, it's a massive right-hander. It puts so much load on your front left. It is... yeah, it's quite annoying, actually. Well, it's not annoying, it just wears your tyres out a lot, and there we go. Max Verstappen dives into the pit lane, his tyres worn out just a little bit too much, and we'll see if he comes out ahead or behind Carlos Sainz. Norris and Piastri continue on. Carlos Sainz comes out of the exit of turn number 20. Max Verstappen has got his fresh set of tyres on, and he is driving down towards the end of the pit lane as well. But he's under the pit lane speed limit. Carlos Sainz is coming down at full speed, and yeah, it's pretty comfortable there for Carlos Sainz. He is comfortably out there in first place. It was a quick pit stop by the Red Bull crew, 2.7 seconds, but the gap between the two drivers is more like 4.4 seconds. So yeah, if they wanted Verstappen to stay out of the pits, they would have needed to have a negative time for their pit stop, which is, well, clearly not possible. All right, so if it stays this way, and Leclerc, Norris and Piastri all do a one-stop, it's looking like it could be a Ferrari 1-2, which would be wild, to say the least. It would be absolutely crazy if that happened. But let's, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, and I'm definitely not going to get the Ferrari fans' hopes up too much. They've had their heart broken far too many times. So we're going to take it nice and steady. We'll think about the possibility of a Ferrari 1-2, maybe around about lap number 45. They've come over the radio to Leclerc saying box, box. Leclerc's into the pits. Very nice. Okay. And what tyres is it going to be for Charles Leclerc? Just put him out on a set of hard tyres. Don't mess anything up, Ferrari here. And, he'll be in the lead of this race by around about 10 seconds. All right. Norris takes the lead of the race because he hasn't come into the pits yet. However, Charles Leclerc is the driver who is in the net lead. He comes out just behind Piastri, and the McLarens will be pitting very, very shortly. They've still got their pit stop left yet to do. And it's a set of hard tyres for Charles Leclerc, a decent pit stop from Ferrari, 2.5 seconds. And he's out, and he's 7 seconds ahead of his teammate. 11 seconds ahead of Verstappen. And he's looking in great shape. Ferrari. Also, I'd like to point out Ferrari have brought 0 upgrades this weekend. McLaren brought a huge upgrade package. Mercedes brought an enormous upgrade package. Red Bull brought a slightly smaller upgrade package. They only brought a few tweaks here and there. Ferrari brought absolutely 0 upgrades, and still they are potentially going on to win this race. Very, very interesting. I would have thought. I think a factor that has played into that is the fact that there was only one practice session for the Mercedes and the McLaren teams. Both teams brought enormous upgrade packages, and we've seen this in the past. The teams do need a bit of time to diagnose and check everything's working as expected, make a couple of tweaks here and there, and with the 1 hour of practice that you do get in a sprint weekend, it's simply just not enough time to get everything understood and get the most optimum setup. So maybe in theory and in simulations, the McLaren and the Ferrari and the Mercedes are faster cars. However, the mechanics haven't been able to get the setup correct, and because of that, they are slightly slower. Well, we'll only find out in Mexico City once the mechanics actually have enough time to get the correct setup. Can Verstappen have P1? Well, I don't know. He's going to have to overtake both Ferraris to do that, and I don't think they're going to let that happen. We'll keep an eye out on the gaps, but Carlos Sainz is lapping very, very quickly and has got no signs of slowing down. Both Norris and Piastri have set a personal best lap time, in fact, on their previous laps. So yeah, both drivers improving. They're doing pretty well, and they've been managing their tyres for very, very long now. But I don't know exactly where they're going with this, because they're going to have to pit onto the hard tyres at some point. They're the only Piastri, Norris, Ocon, and Stroll. Oh no, yeah, Piastri, Norris, and Ocon are the only medium tyre runners that haven't yet come into the pits. Every other medium tyre runner has. So yeah, I don't know exactly what they're doing. Stroll, the driver who started the race on hard tyres, is coming into the pits. So yeah, McLaren have done a fantastic job managing those tyres, but well, they need to also come into the pits to change the tyres, otherwise they'll get disqualified by the FIA. A random purple from George Russell. Indeed, yeah, he's on a set of... What? George Russell, a set on hard tyres, 27 lap old hard tyres, and he's gone purple. How has he done this? I mean, sensational driving from George Russell. The first sector is totally down to driver skill and how much commitment that they show in the corners. And, well, fantastic job for George Russell so far. Yeah, incredible. Right. Somehow he's still got pace on those tyres, which is... and look at that, a 139.2. That's quicker than not Piastri on the previous lap. Piastri was a 139.6. Russell on his previous lap, a 139.2. Admittedly, Piastri's medium tyres will have worn out more than Russell's hard tyres, but nonetheless, I think McLaren have to come in soon enough, because they're just going to be wasting time sitting out here. I mean, maybe they're waiting for a safety car to come out and then get a free pit stop under that, but yeah, it's looking unlikely for that to happen. Okie dokes. Yeah, here we are, halfway point of the race, lap number 29 of 56. We've got 29,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. It's been a pleasure commentating to you so far. Thank you everyone for the donations. I've just got to read out all of my Patreon members. They help out the channel financially a lot. So I've just got to, give them a bit of a shout out. Yeah, so let me just go through my list of Patreons. We have got Stefan, Tomaher46, The Code Monster, Matt, Andrew Eastwood, Andrew N, Shush, Exoteric, Tragic Fun, Alfie, AJ, and Giuseppe. So those are all the channel members, and there was a couple more that got added on today, but I've already given them a shout out. So yeah, thank you everyone for helping out the channel, and very much is appreciated. We've got Pierre Gasly with a black and white flag for exceeding track limits too many times, and yeah, we've seen quite a few track limits deletions. I haven't told you about all of them because it gets a little bit boring, but Pierre Gasly, the first driver to be given black and white flags for exceeding track limits 3 times. If he does it one more time now, he will get a 5-second time penalty, and that's definitely not going to help him out. Gasly started the race up in 6th position and has now dropped down into 13th. There are a couple of drivers, of course, ahead of him, still yet to pit, like Russell, Lawson, and Colapinto. However, that won't push him all the way up into 6th position once again. So, yeah, he's got a... it's not worked out well for him. I think the Alpine was very quick in qualifying trim. However, in race trim, their tyre wear is not ideal. All right. If Norris does come into the pits now, he will come out behind Verstappen as well. The gap between Norris and Verstappen, 17 seconds. So Norris will most definitely be behind his championship rival. They're trying to extend it out a little bit. And if the safety car comes out now, then sure, Norris will get out ahead of Verstappen. However, the chance of a safety car, quite slim. Well, at this exact moment in time. But, I could eat my words very, very quickly. Leclerc's got DRS off Piastri, and he should get a fairly easy overtake done, given that he's on fresh hard tyres and Piastri's on 30-lap-old mediums. So we'll see. Yeah, hopefully I don't do a commentator's curse and say, oh, it's so easy not to crash, and then someone has a crash and we have a safety car. But yeah, Piastri and Leclerc are fighting just like they were in Baku. However, I think it's going to be a much easier overtake here for Charles Leclerc. In fact, Charles Leclerc is doing quite a huge amount of lift and coasting as well, going into turn number 1. He knows that he can't get too close in the first sector anyway, so he's just decided, oh, I'll do a little bit of lift and coasting and save a bit of fuel and not ruin my tyres too much. All right, here he goes out of turn number 11. The gap is 0.6 of a second. He gets much better traction than Piastri. His tyres are in much better condition. The DRS flap is wide open. He is gaining and gaining. He looks to the inside. Piastri is not going to fight this one too hard. He knows that he's not fighting Leclerc for the race win, and but he still manages to hold on, actually. No, Leclerc just gets through there. It was quite close, but yeah, Piastri concedes the position. There's no point fighting this one, really. And nice job there from Charles Leclerc. A bit of a dive bomb, really, from Charles, if you look back at the replay, but he was quite far back. He got it to work, though. He knew his tyres were in better condition and better shape, so he can take those sort of risks. Norris comes into the pits finally, and he will come out of the pits 6 seconds behind of Max Verstappen. So yeah, it's fine, really. Norris has got some time to gain, but it's going to be a pretty tall order to catch up to Max Verstappen. Verstappen will have 5-lap-old hard tyres. Norris will have, of course, fresh hard tyres, but a 5-lap tyre difference is not going to be all that significant. So let's see. Hulkenberg confirmed on a 1-stop, at least by K-Mike's engineer on the radio. Yeah, no, it makes sense. Pirelli did say a 2-stop, but historically at the US Grand Prix, even though the pit stops are only 20 seconds and you only lose 20 seconds of time, a 1-stop just tends to be the most optimal thing, because, well, I don't know. Normally at high tyre wear circuits, 2 stops you can get away with, but for some reason at this circuit, even though we have high tyre wear, 2 stops doesn't seem to be the most optimal way to go about things. Yeah. All right. Wow, 29,000 people watching the stream. That is mind-blowing, folks. I think Piastri will be coming into the pits next lap as well. He's not going to be waiting around too long either. But yes, Norris now, his job, there we go, 6 seconds is the gap between himself and Verstappen, and we'll wait and see what he can do and if he can catch up to him. All eyes on Lando Norris. All right, folks. Also, folks, I would like to point out, I think we are like the 5th biggest live stream on YouTube right now, which is quite incredible. Yeah, I think probably the 5th biggest live stream on YouTube, which is quite crazy, actually. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. All right, there we go. Oscar Piastri comes into the pit lane as well, as expected. And a purple first sector from Charles Leclerc, just showing that he has still got that pace. And he's 7 seconds in the lead of this race to Carlos Sainz, who's 4 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. Wow. George Russell here, he might be screwed. Ooh, does he get ahead of Piastri as they go down the hill towards turn number 2? Piastri just ever so slightly manages to stay ahead of George Russell. It was so tight, and in fact Russell is pushing him all the way, but Piastri is on fresh hards. Russell's hard tyres are 32 laps old. There's really not too much point fighting this one, and yeah, Russell will soon enough get dropped by Oscar Piastri. Pierre Gasly has been given a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. I think that's just exceeding track limits too many times. Yeah. So Piastri, the first driver to get a black and white flag, the first driver to also get a 5-second time penalty. That's really not helping his case. He's currently in 12th. I think when Russell, Lawson and Colapinto pit, he will go up into 10th position, but with a 5-place grid penalty, he might not even get that point for 10th place. All right. Ooh. Yeah. All right. We're getting pretty close to 4,000 likes, folks. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. And we're getting pretty close to 108,000 subscribers as well. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. And also, I'll post a photo of my silver play button on the community tab of YouTube tonight. Yeah, I forgot to do that. All right, fastest lap of the race there from Lando Norris, but he's only 0.2 of a second quicker than Verstappen's fastest lap. Both drivers are pushing quite hard, and the gap is currently at 6 seconds. We'll see how much longer Lando Norris can sustain this attacking pace. Otherwise, he could wear out his tyres a little bit too much, and then end up with no chance whatsoever to catch up to Verstappen. Charles is having to lift and coast. I don't know if Charles is having to lift and coast. I think it might just be a matter of he is lifting and coasting because he might as well save fuel just in case he needs it later on. And either way, he's 7 seconds in the lead of this race. He's more than fine to lift and coast. At F1 Gamer, did you change the layout of the stats? Yes, I did. I shifted around a couple of the columns. Yeah, I got rid of the number of positions gained because it's not exactly the most relevant thing. But I've still got it on my screen. It's just that you can't see it on your screen. I've managed to fit in a final column for the pit stops, which barely fits onto the screen. And I've just got... I think I moved the best lap and the final lap, the previous lap around. But yeah. I have nice that you noticed actually. What is lifting and coasting? Lifting and coasting is essentially what happens is when the drivers are going down the main straight. Normally, the strategy or what you're meant to do is go full throttle all the way up until the start of the braking zone. So at the 100-meter mark, you stopped. You're up to full throttle at 100 meters, all the way down the straight, and then once you hit the 100-meter brake marker board, you start hitting the brakes. Whereas lifting and coasting, What that is, you know, for most of the straight, you're going at 100% throttle. However, at the, say, 200 meter mark, you totally lift off the throttle. You're not pressing the accelerator, but you're also not pressing the brake. And then but you let the car sort of just coast and just roll. And then once you let the car roll for a little bit, and you're not using any fuel, right? Consider you're not pressing on the throttle. No more fuel is being injected into the engine. And then you're using less fuel. And essentially that's what lifting and coasting is. And then once again, you'll start braking at the 100 meter mark, or ever so slightly later, because you've already scrubbed off a little bit of speed. So maybe stop braking the 80 meter mark, 90 meter mark. And it's just a fuel saving tactic. We see this happen quite often going into turn number one. The drivers, they're full throttle. They reach, I think, 300 kilometers an hour approximately. And they lift off the throttle a little bit. They slow down and then start hitting the brakes. Yeah. All right. Another fast lap of the race there from Lando Norris, and wow, he was a second of a lap quicker than Max Verstappen on the previous lap. I think Verstappen made a bit of a mistake on the previous lap, if I'm going to be honest. However, Norris has just gained a full second. The gap was previously 6, now it's down to 4, and Lando Norris may be catching up here to Max Verstappen. This is going to get interesting actually. 21 laps left to go. The gap between Verstappen and Norris 4 seconds. Yeah, I mean, if we think about it, Verstappen could concede the position to Norris, no fighting whatsoever, and he would still be totally fine for the championship. So does he want to take that risk of squabbling and potentially getting damage and then, scoring 0 points whatsoever? I don't know. I mean, it's up to Max Verstappen. We've seen him mature a lot. In 2021, he had absolutely nothing to lose to go for that first championship. He would take all of the risks he wanted. We saw that crash between Hamilton and Verstappen at Monza. That was totally avoidable. However, Verstappen just didn't care, and he knew it would benefit him in the championship if they crashed out, or if one of the drivers crashed out. So he just went for it. However, as Verstappen has won a couple more championships, he has to fight a little bit harder in 2022. We saw him take a little bit less risk and think about the long game. I think we might see a bit of that from Max Verstappen today, and not go super aggressive, trying to push Norris off the circuit and potentially get himself some damage. All right. The radios have stopped. Oh yeah, they have. I'm going to refresh the radios. Maybe that will fix them. But we have been having some issues with the radios this weekend in FP1 and in the sprint quali. So bear with me, folks. Oh, Verstappen's come over the radio saying, these tires just aren't good. I can't brake. I can't attack. Interesting. I don't know... exactly what you can do about that right now. He did, of course, make a bit of a mistake. I think that might just be a bit of frustration after making a mistake. But that gap, 13.3 seconds, and the lap from Lando Norris, 13.3. The lap from Verstappen, 13.7. So Norris is still gaining. The gap down to 3.8 seconds now. Also, saying everyone spam Lando, that's just not going to go very well, because you are just going to end up getting banned. Yeah. All right. All right, I'm going to refresh these radios. Just give me a sec, folks. Yeah, I've just refreshed them, but no radios are coming through. So, I don't know what's going on there. Yuki Tsunoda has been given a 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the circuit. I haven't seen the replay of that just yet, but yeah, Tsunoda's been overtaken by his teammate. Okay, Lawson. Wow, Lawson has come into the pits. He has got ahead of his teammate, and Tsunoda's got a 5-second time penalty as well here. So Yeah, Sonoda's down into 13th. Lawson is in 12th, and Lawson's on fresh tyres. He's got progress that he can make up the field. Gasly's on 18 lap hards, so Lawson could go on and score some points this weekend in his first Formula One Grand Prix. That could be sensational. Yeah, wow. All right. Lando Norris still gaining. Look at that. For purple first sector. He is a man on a mission. And, well, he's catching up to He's catching up to Max Verstappen here. Very, very interesting. The gap is 2.8 seconds. It is reducing every single corner now. And, maybe Verstappen's just conserving his tyres. And then when Norris gets within, 2 seconds, he's going to start pushing again. I don't know. Right. Yeah, there's to be honest, there isn't that much action going on right now. There's Lawson potentially going to overtake Pierre Gasly. He gets a very, very nice exit out of turn number 11. He's got DRS, he's got a slipstream. His tyres are so fresh that his traction is amazing. Gasly's struggling, and Lawson looks to the inside, gets that move done, and it is a textbook overtake there for Liam Lawson. Pierre Gasly has no chance holding him back. It's a charging Kiwi on a fresh set of mediums. Purple in the middle sector as well. Of course, that slipstream and DRS helped him out, but nonetheless, a purple middle sector for Liam Lawson. And now he's got 11 seconds to catch up to Hulkenberg, which is going to be a very tall order. But if he can successfully do that, then he fully deserves the points that he will get in his first Grand Prix. Ooh, K-Mag's into the pits. Why is K-Mag coming into the pits? This could promote Liam Lawson up. In fact, it will promote Liam Lawson up. I don't know why K-Mag's coming into the pits here. What's going on? He's done 17 laps on the mediums, 21 laps on the hards. Maybe those hards are coming. Yeah, 18 laps left of this race. I don't think he was going to get to the end on them. And K-Mag's doing a 2-stop here. So he's now coming out of the pits on a fresh set of medium tyres. But Liam Lawson now up into the points. Fantastic job. George Russell as well, yeah, he's out on 38 lap old hard tyres, and Colapinto as well, both Russell and Colapinto. They have been waiting. I think they're now waiting essentially for a safety car to come out. But yeah, George Russell in 6th position, Colapinto in 8th, and I think they'll be coming into the pits shortly now. Yeah, wow, interesting. Let's have a look at that gap. Lando Norris, 2.4 seconds is the gap between himself and Max Verstappen. However, Verstappen has now picked up the pace a little bit. He has set a personal best lap time. Carlos Sainz has set a personal best lap time, and so is Charles Leclerc. But Charles Leclerc's gone purple because he's the quickest out of all of them. And this is what I thought. Verstappen, he was hiding his pace a little bit, conserving his tyres, and now he's going to, pull away from Lando Norris, because this is the thing. Norris has been pushing for how many laps consecutively? 8 laps, 7 laps consecutively, trying to catch up to Verstappen. His tyres will be starting to overheat a little bit, whereas Verstappen has been now conserving a little bit, not attacking that much, and his tyres will be under temperature ever so slightly, so that gives Verstappen the freedom to attack super hard if he wants, and essentially leave Lando Norris in the dust. So we may see that happen. It all depends on how hot Lando Norris's tyres are and how cool Verstappen's tyres are. Colapinto finally into the pits, and he comes out on a set of medium tyres as expected. 17 laps left of this race, and it's 12th position for Colapinto. However, for him to get up into the points, he's only got to overtake Tsunoda, who's 5 seconds up the road, and then Gasly, who is half a second up the road from Tsunoda. So it's not too big of a job for Colapinto to score some points as well. We could have 2 rookies scoring points in the same race. That would be brilliant. Okay. Here we go then, Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen. I don't think Verstappen is picking up the pace that much, and gap now down to 2 seconds, 16 laps left to go, and we've got a battle between 2 championship rivals for third place for the third place spot on the podium. George Russell, after 41 laps of driving around on those hard tyres, finally comes into the pits to put on a set of mediums for the end of this race. All right, here we go from George Russell coming out of the pits. Where is he going to come out? That is the question. I think he'll come out just ahead of Hulkenberg, maybe just behind him. It depends. It's going to be pretty close. Actually, it's not going to be close. Russell is going to be quite a bit behind Nico Hulkenberg. So he's got to overtake Hulkenberg, Perez, and then that's as good as he could hope for, because Piastri is 25 seconds up the road from Sergio Perez. All right. Yeah, wow. Why didn't he hop onto the soft? The softs are really bad around this circuit. We've got a yellow flag. Yellow flag, Sector 3, DRS has been disabled. What's that for? Is someone going slowly? Is that Sonoda? Sonoda. Sonoda had a spin at turn number 1. That's what's caused this yellow flag. Yeah, Sonoda had a spin at turn number 1. All right, but green flag once again with no safety or anything like that. And now we have got what was I going to say? Oh yeah, George Russell. The best he can hope for is 6th position, but considering that he started from the pit lane, that would be a huge amount of progress, and he would have made his engineers very, very happy, because they've worked all night long to fix his car, and it would be very nice if they could if George Russell could repay them by getting up into 6th position. Ooh, a fastest lap of the race here from Carlos Sainz. He goes a 10th quicker than Charles Leclerc's best lap. And that gap up at the front is down to 6 seconds. I don't think there's going to be any sort of squabbling between the Ferraris. I think Fred Vasseur will just come over the radio saying, cut it out, no squabbling, no fighting. We don't want to lose time to Verstappen. But yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. Maybe Leclerc is struggling. Yeah, they have said we can reduce lift and coast. So Leclerc has been lifting and coasting. That explains why Sainz has been catching up, because they must have underfueled Leclerc's car or something. We've had a little bit of lagging going on here. If it gets a little bit too bad, then I will just refresh all of the data. But yeah, it's going on for now. So I think Charles Leclerc's just been doing a little bit of lifting and coasting, and that's why Sainz has been catching up in the past couple of laps. But they said we can reduce the amount of lifting and coasting that we're doing, so we should be fine. But yeah, I think Ferrari may have took some notes from what McLaren did in the sprint race, underfuel the car, do a bit of lifting and coasting during the race, but then get a fantastic race start. Of course, Leclerc was very much helped by the fact that Verstappen's mindset going into turn number 1 was, I don't care if I'm in 1st position or in 2nd position, I just need to be ahead of Lando Norris. And that mindset definitely helped him a lot, because he was in 2nd place, and Leclerc got ahead of him, and so did Sainz. Sainz was just behind him, but nonetheless, his mission was to keep Lando Norris behind. However, that mission is going to be tested. The gap between Norris and Verstappen, 1.2 seconds. He is catching up. A lighter car is also easier on the tyres. That would explain the pace on the old mediums. Now, that does make sense. I don't know how much of an impact, I don't know how much lighter it would have been. Maybe it would have been 5 kilograms less fuel. I'm not totally sure. But considering the cars only have 100 kilograms of fuel in the tank, 5 kilograms is, it's 5%, isn't it? So a fairly significant chunk of fuel that he has to not use during the race. George Russell with the fastest lap of the race. He's on a fresh set of medium tyres here. He's probably going to keep that fastest lap, because I don't think anyone in the top 5 is going to have any pace on those hard tyres. So nicely done there from George Russell. He's going to keep that fastest lap till probably the final lap of this race. But we've got 13 laps left to go, and look at that gap. It's 1 second now. Lando Norris is gaining. Here we go, folks. This is exactly what we've been waiting for. The final 13 laps of this race, Lando Norris is within DRS of Max Verstappen. Here we go. All right. Let me know, folks, who do you think is going to stay ahead? Will it be Lando Norris? Will he be able to overtake Max Verstappen? Or will Verstappen, will Verstappen keep the lead? Will Norris, not the lead, will Verstappen keep 3rd place, or will Norris get it off him? DRS's drag reduction system, you get it when you're within 1 second of the driver ahead of you. So if you look up on the screen there, Norris is just over 1 second, as he's actually 0.942 seconds behind Verstappen. So he's going to have DRS exiting turn number 11. Very nice. Okay, if we look at these, if we look at the tyre wear for both drivers, Norris is on 12-lap-old hard tyres, Verstappen is on 18-lap-old hard tyres. So a 6-lap tyre advantage towards Lando Norris. He's got the DRS, he gains significantly going into turn number 12. However, too far back on this occasion to get a move done. But this is the closest Norris has ever been. 6/10 is the gap as they go through the final sector. This is looking good. This is looking fantastic. Also, folks, we've got 30,000 people watching. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It hugely, hugely helps out the channel. And if we can hit 110k or 109k subscribers today, that would be fantastic. All right, here they go. Final two corners. Lando Norris versus Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen. And that gap, 7/10 of a second, that is 3/10 of a second closer than what it was on the previous lap. Lando Norris is gaining now as they go towards turn number 1. And we could see a mistake maybe from Verstappen. Just like Lando Norris made a mistake on the final lap of the sprint race, locking up going into turn number 1. We could see one of those mistakes coming from Max Verstappen. It's a lot more rare, but nonetheless, it is possible. Oh wow, we've just gone up to 108k. That is sensational. The subscribers keep on increasing so much, and we've hit our like target as well. Let me just increase that to maybe, I don't know, 6,000. Is that pretty ambitious? I guess so. We'll see if we can do that. But now, our main focus, the main show, Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen. Going down the main straight, they've got DRS for Lando Norris. He's got an extra 15 kilometers per hour of top speed as he goes down that straight, but he's still too far back. Verstappen gets fantastic traction out of turn number 11. He's been conserving his tyres a little bit ever since he came out of the pits. He knew this attack was coming from the McLaren, and he's been preparing for it. And well, he's getting fantastic traction out of 11. And if we look at the battery levels here, according to AWS, which I don't know how accurate that is, but Verstappen has got 90% battery charge, whereas Lando Norris has got 50% battery charge. So, yeah, Verstappen's still got a lot of battery left, and there's some serious potential that he can, he'll still be able to hold off Verstappen. He'll still be able to hold off Norris, sorry. Oh my god, my nose is really blocking up and I'm starting to sneeze. This is, Lawson still has his penalty. I don't think Lawson has a penalty. Let me just double check. Nico Hulkenberg has been given a black and white flag for exceeding track limits, but Lawson, no penalty for Lawson. Tsunoda has a penalty, however Lawson does not. Tsunoda and Gasly both have 5-second penalties. I think Gasly might have served as in the pits. I'm not 100% sure about that. Colapinto makes a move on Gasly going into the final sector. A great move from Colapinto. He's up into 10th place. He's scoring points and he's doing this. We're going to have two rookies scoring points in 9th and 10th position. Absolutely fantastic. These are, the Formula 1 has got a very, very bright future with Colapinto and Piastri and Lawson driving around. Here comes Lando Norris for the third time of trying now. Going down the back straight. He's got DRS slipstream. He looks to the inside of Verstappen on this time. He's getting in his mirrors a little bit, but once again, too far back to get anything done. Also, folks, who is your driver of the day? Mine is most definitely going to be Liam Lawson. He started the race in 19th. Up into 10th position. He gets ahead of his teammate as well. He doesn't get a 5-second time penalty like his teammate. Admittedly, his strategy may have been slightly better than his teammate, but either way, Liam Lawson into 9th place on his first race of Formula 1, 10 positions gained, scoring points. That most definitely deserves driver of the day. And, yeah.
Right, 10 laps remain now. Lando Norris 2/10 is the gap. He is so close. He is pushing Verstappen through the first sector practically. But is that the right thing to do? In the first sector, you lose so much time by being in the dirty air of another driver. And well, Verstappen is now really under threat from Lando Norris. This is the closest he has ever been to getting an overtake done. 4/10 is the gap as they approach turn number 11 now. And this is about to get very, very spicy. Both of the drivers get onto the power. Both of them get good traction. But Norris has got the slipstream. He's got the DRS. This is the closest it's ever been. He's gaining. He's gaining. Verstappen pulls out to the left-hand side to go defensive. Norris to the right-hand side. And Verstappen is super late on the brakes. They are side by side going through turn number 12. And Verstappen just manages to get ahead of Norris for the time being as they make their way through the complex of turn number 13 and 14. Both drivers taking wildly different lines here to try and get past each other, but just by the finest of margins, Max Verstappen manages to hold on and stay ahead of Lando Norris. Fantastic defensive driving from Verstappen, but now he's still got 9 laps left of this, folks. This is fantastic. 10 laps left to go, and we've got the drivers in the 2 championship rivals battling away for the final podium position. Here we go. I cannot wait for this action. All right. Norris is really trying. He's going to be deploying his battery. Verstappen will as well. Both drivers will be deploying absolutely everything that they can of their battery to stay ahead of the other driver. Norris purple in the first sector as well. Even though he's got the dirty air of Verstappen, he is still purple in the first sector. That just goes to show how much he is pushing. And simply sensational, really, how hard Norris is pushing here. All right, here we go. Once again, round number 2. Lando Norris with DRS. He's a little bit further back than he previously was, but he can get a slingshot with that extra distance that he's got to Verstappen. But the slingshot doesn't work out too well because the gap going into the turn number 12 is far, far too big, and he's not going to brake that late, and he's not going to send a dive bomb down the inside to Verstappen. So he holds on. Verstappen holds on for one more lap, but we've still got 9 laps left to go. 8 laps left to go now. All right. All right, here we go then. Lando Norris once again with DRS blasting down the main straight he goes. And Verstappen goes defensive into turn number 1 here. He's just protecting the fact that Norris might send a dive bomb down the inside. So, he's playing it safe. And does Norris get ahead? No, he doesn't. By the finest of margins, it looked like Norris was going to get ahead, but he just hangs in there. Very, very nicely done there for Verstappen. Wow. We've got Russell also approaching Perez. 3.5 seconds is the gap between Russell and Perez. Russell's on fresh mediums. Perez is on pretty old hard tyres. So we could see Russell overtake Perez for 6th place in this race. We got a purple first sector from Charles Leclerc up in the lead of this race. He is in a bit of a league of his own really today. And it's going to be a Ferrari 1-2 if it continues on in this way for the final 8 laps of this race. Lando Norris once again gaining massively, but he's just too far back. Verstappen knows that he doesn't even go defensive on this occasion. Some great driving by Verstappen, some good judgment there. If he goes defensive a little bit too early, that's actually going to compromise him throughout the next couple of corners. So Verstappen being very, very wise there and just decides to take the normal racing line. All right, a black and white flag for Hulkenberg. I think I said that earlier, but another black and white flag has been awarded, and that goes to Oscar Piastri. He has been exceeded track limits 3 times now. If he does it one more time, he will get a 5-second time penalty to add on to his race time. Not that it'll affect him much because he's 30 seconds ahead of Sergio Perez, but why get a time penalty when you can avoid it? All right, we've got a bit of traffic up ahead as well. Verstappen may get DRS off the Sauber. Actually, no, the Guan Yu Zhou backs out nice and early, and Verstappen isn't going to get DRS off him, and they continue their way through the first sector. All right, 7 laps remain. Here we go. 7 laps remain. 5.5 seconds is the gap that Charles Leclerc has in the lead of this race. Sainz is 8 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Verstappen is his sole focus now is to keep Norris behind. All right. Both drivers are deploying their battery. Both drivers are using up quite a bit of it, but no one's getting any overtakes done. So Norris still too far back. And maybe he's got to force a mistake out of Verstappen, but Verstappen isn't the kind of driver that feels any kind of pressure. And realistically, Norris, this is Verstappen's championship to lose. He's not got too much to lose here. Well, no, Verstappen has got quite a bit to lose, but he's not really feeling much of the pressure because he knows that even if he crashes out in this race, Norris isn't scoring 25 points. He's only going to score 15 points by getting third place, and his championship is safe. So the pressure's on Lando Norris here to try and get something out of Max Verstappen. Yeah, dear Ferrari fans, please wait till celebrating. I would definitely wait, Ferrari fans. I mean, it's fantastic that you're currently in a 1-2, but no, it should be fine. But obviously, you don't want to be celebrating with 6 laps left to go. Yeah, Verstappen, I eat pressure for breakfast. That sounds just about right, really. Norris is very, very close in the first sector once again. However, there's nothing that there's no overtaking opportunities in the first sector. Verstappen isn't making any sort of mistakes, and Norris isn't able to get a pass done. The tyre difference is getting less and less as well. They do have a 6-lap tyre difference, but with every single lap that both drivers do, the relative performance of the tyres gets closer and closer, and Norris is having less and less of an opportunity of getting these overtakes done. He's gaining now very significantly. It looks like he's pressing the overtake button to the absolute limit, and still unable to get past Verstappen. Verstappen goes defensive. He's looking in his mirrors. Norris tries to swoop round the outside. He's not going to get that one done, but the switchback might just work as they go down into turn number 15, side by side. Norris on the outside, Verstappen on the inside. Superb defensive driving from Max Verstappen. He has the inside line, and Norris can do absolutely nothing about it. Wow, that was the closest it's been, and honestly, the defensive driving and the car placement from Max Verstappen is fantastic. There is nothing that Norris can do, and yeah, he's got 5 more laps left to go, and he's 5 more attempts to get an overtake done. But Verstappen is looking. His driving is immaculate as of now. Norris once again gets a better exit out of turn number 1, but still too far back to get any move completed. Right. The data's just jumped there a little bit. Apologies for that. Right, folks, if we could not have too much spam in the chat, that would be very much appreciated. Just helps out our moderators here, really. So, yeah, that'd be very nice of you if you don't spam too much. And here comes Lando Norris once again. 3/10, 4/10. This is definitely the closest it's been coming through turn number 11. Now, the question is, has he got enough battery to deploy? Because he deployed quite a lot of it on his previous lap. He opens the DRS here, and Verstappen now goes all the way to the inside. They're side by side. Norris could get the move done on this occasion, but Verstappen brakes so late, pushes Norris off the side of the circuit. Norris has overtook him off the track now, and Verstappen is going to be super annoyed over the radio. We'll see what the FIA does about this, and but Norris has got that third place spot, and Verstappen is he's already over the radio, and he said overtook outside the track. Fantastic. I mean, you can just predict this stuff, can't you? Let's see what the FIA says, because Christian Horner is going to be over the radio immediately to the FIA, saying he overtook him off the circuit, and to be fair, he did. Verstappen's got DRS now. Norris, they've come over the radio to Norris. What are they saying? Let him by? Are they saying let him by? I'm not sure. Oh, Norris goes super defensive, super late as well. I don't know what he's doing. Is he trying to give the position back? I don't know. But wow, that was super late defensive maneuver from Lando Norris. And Verstappen is not going to be pleased about that either. All right, 4 laps left to go, and Norris has just been overtaken. Verstappen over the radio, what's he said now? He needs to give it back. Yep, I mean, I could tell you that Verstappen was going to complain. I mean, it's so predictable, but it is also, it's also fair. Lando Norris did complete the overtake completely, all 4 wheels off the circuit. He will say that, Verstappen pushed me off the circuit, and that's why I completed the overtake off the circuit. But I don't know if that defense is a valid defense. Can Oscar overtake Verstappen? Maybe. The gap is 3.4 seconds. With only 4 laps left to go, it's looking a little unlikely. There may be a 5-second penalty given out to Norris at the end of this race. The turn 12 incident has been noted. It might be under investigation. And they've also seen moving under braking at turn number 1. So Norris is under investigation for 2 things: moving under braking at turn number 1, which I pointed out as a very erratic maneuver, to be honest, and then of course overtaking off the circuit. Right. Oh, they've come over the radio. Charles Leclerc's come over the radio saying, "Can I ignore the front brake temperature alarm?" I don't know what's going on there, but track temperature is 46 degrees. Air temperature is 29 degrees. They shouldn't have too many issues in terms of overheating, but I guess there's, for some reason, one of the alarms is going off in Charles Leclerc's car. Right. It's under investigation. The stewards have said under investigation, leaving the track and gaining an advantage. They've told Verstappen over the radio. The stewards are looking at it, Max, and it's either Verstappen's job to stay within 5 seconds or to just to stay within 5 seconds or to try and overtake him. But I don't think he's going to get an overtake done, given the gap is extended out to 2 seconds now. If we look at the onboards here, where did Lando Norris really have space to go? He didn't have much space to go off the circuit, but onto the circuit. Both Norris and Verstappen's laps have been deleted for exceeding track limits. That's fair enough. And we'll keep an eye out on it, and I will let you know. I've got the data feed coming straight from race control, and as soon as they say something, I'll let you guys know. But 2 laps left of this race. Charles Leclerc 6 seconds in the lead, and Carlos Sainz 6 seconds ahead of Lando Norris. All right. All right. So this is what in Norris's thing they've said that we were ahead at the apex, and because he was ahead at the apex, he's allowed to overtake off the circuit or something like that. Or he was forced off the circuit and he was ahead at the apex, so it's fine. That's McLaren's side of the argument. Verstappen's side of the argument is he overtook me off the track. I don't know why Ocon has now just gone and scored a fastest lap. He boxed for a set of soft tyres, and he's now gone and scored a fastest lap. Very nice. I don't know if you actually get the point if you're not in the top 10, because you have to be within the top 10 to actually get that point. But Esteban Ocon has got the fastest lap of the race with 2 laps left to go. George Russell, he is 3/10 back from Sergio Perez. We could see an overtake happen here. Very nice from George Russell. Okay. Where actually is George Russell on the circuit? Here we go, following Sergio Perez through the first sector. And honestly, the FIA have got to make a decision quickly, and they've got to make a decision now. With 2 laps left of this race, you do not want to be deciding this thing at the end of the race. Lando Norris finishes in 3rd place, and then they say, oh yeah, by the way, mate, you've got a 5-second time penalty, so you're not actually on the podium. That would be stupid. But the FIA is known for doing stupid things. So we'll see. Yeah, Norris, really, what he should have done is just given the position back and then overtook him on the next lap again, because Norris has more than enough pace to actually get that overtake done. But what can you do? We're on the final lap of this race. George Russell has just overtaken Sergio Perez. Very nicely done from George Russell. And Sergio Perez will have a chance to fight this back for one more lap because they're currently on the penultimate lap. They haven't come across the line yet. But we've still got Charles Leclerc in the lead of this race, is coming out at turn number 11 for the final time of this race. Still no message from race control. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing. It should have been decided within a matter of 2-3 minutes, but what can you do? It is the FIA after all. Okay, Norris is, Verstappen is within the 5 seconds of Lando Norris, and a 5-second time penalty has been given to Lando Norris, folks. It has just been announced. A 5-second time penalty has been given, and that will drop him down into 4th position. If Piastri gains a little bit of time, it'll drop him down into 5th position. But yeah, that's what's happened there. And here we go. Charles Leclerc comes out of the final corner and he wins the US Grand Prix. A fantastic race start and then some sensational domination from Charles Leclerc. Carlos Sainz across the line for 2nd place. It is a Ferrari 1-2. The Tifosi are overjoyed. All of the mechanics are jumping over the pit wall. And then we've got Lando Norris across the line. On the circuit, he's in 3rd position, but he has been given a 5-second time penalty. Verstappen across the line, he gets up into 3rd place, and Piastri, he backs out the final lap to ensure that his teammate gets the 4th place and he gets the 5th. All right. Charles Leclerc is overjoyed with winning that race, and Carlos Sainz is also in 2nd place, and the Ferrari team are absolutely over the moon. They will have potentially even got 2nd place in the constructors off Red Bull. Currently it's McLaren in 1st place, Red Bull in 2nd, but with Ferrari scoring a 1-2 and Red Bull in a 3 and a 7, we could see Ferrari actually end up in 2nd in the constructors. But yeah, that has been it. That's been it, folks. I'm going to end the stream. I've really got to go. But it will redirect you to the Mexico Grand Prix live stream. It's next weekend, next Sunday, and I'll be commentating for that. So please be sure to tune in. And if you could hit the like button and the reminder button on the Mexico Grand Prix, then that would hugely help out the channel. So yeah, that has been it from me, and it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Hopefully you have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening or night, depending on where you are in the world. And yeah, just the final thing, just hit the like button and the reminder button on the Mexico City Grand Prix. But that's been it from me. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will see you in 1 week's time in Mexico City.